Let's go!
Hey guys, on my way back from the gym and a thought popped into my head about something I wanted to talk about. I don't know if this is going to have a very concise point, this video. I don't know if it's going to have a real theme to it, but I get this question a lot, and people ask, how do you just take one bite or two bites and then throw it away, or give it to somebody else, or share, or, this concept seems so uncommon in the United States because everybody's all about, we see all these videos of people eating challenges. Oh, it's a 4-pound burger, or a 10-pound burger, or like a gigantic pizza, and you got to finish it all. In America, we are obsessed with finishing food, obsessed with it. Growing up, I was raised, my parents used to jokingly talk about the Clean Plate Club. I was part of the Clean Plate Club. I never ever left a meal unfinished, ever. And you guys probably can relate to that. And it had nothing to do with my eating disorder at the time, but that was the way I was raised. And, that was one of the bad habits that my parents instilled in me. My parents were amazing. I'm not blaming my parents for anything here. You got to understand that. I'm merely pointing out that there were contributing factors to my eating disorder that I developed later on in life. And that's a video for another time. But the fact is, we were encouraged to finish everything on our plate. You don't want to waste food, right? There's starving kids in Africa. The whole spiel. So the older I got, the worse it got. And you develop, and you guys can probably relate, especially if you've had binge eating disorder. You develop this compulsion to eat it all. You open up a bag of chips, whole thing gets eaten. You don't know why. Yeah, they're good, but why'd you eat the whole thing? Order a small pizza, medium pizza, large pizza, eat the whole thing. Pints of ice cream. Now, I make room for pints of ice cream in my diet, but if you don't have room for it, and you can't stop yourself at 1 or 2 spoonfuls, and this is another thing, guys, if you're one of those people that say, and maybe you're watching this video and you don't think you have any sort of disordered eating habits, and this is something I didn't get to touch on in the disordered eating video, and you say, I can't have that in my house, I'll eat the whole thing. Well, guess what? I'm not going to diagnose you with an eating disorder because that's not, I'm staying in my lane here, but that sounds like some disordered eating shit to me. If you can't control yourself around food, no matter what the food is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You have a problem. What if somebody was like, oh man, I can't drink 1 beer because then I'll drink 30. You'd be like, bro, you are an alcoholic. So if you say you can't have Oreos in your house because if you eat 1, you'll eat 12 or 15 or the whole package, you have a problem. And it's a problem that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. It is not just a self-control issue. Eating disorders go so far beyond the scope of self-control and discipline, it's not even funny. That's why people that are ignorant to eating disorders who like to say, oh, just, have better self-control. Motherfucker, why don't you go tell a heroin addict to have more self-control too while you're at it? Okay? It's a mental disorder. It's an addiction. Shit, you're dumb. Shut your mouth, okay? Now, I'm not... Before anybody jumps down my throat, I'm not comparing binge eating disorders to heroin addiction, but they're not on the same level, but they're on the same tree. You know what I mean? The heroin branch is a lot higher than the binge eating disorder branch. I understand that. So, that's something you guys need to address. You can't have that. And I'm speaking from past experiences. I used to be the same way. You can't have trigger foods in your house. Well, if you still have trigger foods, guys, you're not recovered. Regular people recovered, I'll use myself as an example now, toot my own horn, we don't have trigger foods. We can keep any kind of food in the house. If you guys have seen my videos or my pictures of my stashes, oh shit. Sorry, this new tripod isn't exactly foolproof. If you guys have seen the videos or the pictures of what I have in my house, you know that I have no trigger foods. Because nobody would be able to have the amount of sweets and junk food that I have in my house. I'm a food hoarder. My wife says I'm a food hoarder. I wouldn't be able to do it. So if you still have trigger foods, you are not recovered. And you need to address that as well. Don't live in denial, man. The sooner you face facts, the sooner you're honest with yourself, the sooner you can get fully recovered. And, I was like that, and I had those issues with self-control of certain foods. The sweet and salty Chex Mix was one of my big ones. Holy shit, I couldn't, once you open that bag, it was over. And when I started working with Alberto Nunez from 3D Muscle Journey in 2011, shortly after I had done my whole bodybuilding prep, then binged and gotten fat again and got back into binge eating disorder, I worked with Berto for I think like 6 months, maybe closer to a year. And Berto actually got me into powerlifting, believe it or not. But that's, whatever. I'm sorry. I take a lot of caffeine, so I can get distracted very easily. So Berto and I started working together, and I owe Berto an immense amount of gratitude, and he helped me so much. I'm not going to say he helped me as much as my therapist did, but it was really fucking close. And Berto was always great at coaching me through my slip-ups, because I was still dealing with my binge eating disorder while working with him, and I was honest with him too. Guys, if you have a coach, if you have somebody helping your nutrition and you're still dealing with any sort of binge eating disorder in any way, shape, or form, be honest with your coach, please. Don't lie. All right? If they're a good coach, honesty is the best policy. But he helped me a lot, and I still remember to this day him telling me, he said, and I quote, "I'm the type of guy that can eat one Twix bar and give the other away." That shit blew my mind. I'm like, who the fuck does that? I mean, you're an alien. Berto, you are weird. That is crazy to me. I could not fathom eating one Twix bar and giving the other one to somebody else. It just didn't, and guess what that is? That's disordered thinking, okay? Disordered eating. That's a fucked up relationship with food talking. Just yesterday, I reviewed the cappuccino Twix, and I gave the other one to my wife. I'm very proud of the progress I've made, but I owe it to the people that have helped me, my therapist, my wife, Berto, all the people along the way that supported me and gave me those, and those are the things like that stick with you. The One Twix analogy stuck with me. So forever. It'll be with me till the day I die. It'll be something I will tell my son. Because you got to understand, guys, moderation is so important in life. So important in everything we do, not just food. That Twix analogy, it permeates into all facets of our life. Your diet, your exercise, your work. You can never, moderation is so important because you don't want any one aspect of your life to take away from another. Basically, you don't want to sacrifice your health for your job, and vice versa. You don't want to work out 12 hours a day and ignore your family. You don't want to, fly yourself to seminars and fit expos and trying to be a social media superstar while your wife and 2 kids are at home. You don't want to do that because that's what pieces of shit do. So moderation, balance, super important, and that Twix analogy will always stick with me. And I'm gonna wrap this up because we're getting near the 10-minute mark, and I try not to go too long here. But I want to let you guys know, here's my Bertoism. Berto has a lie. Berto's kind of like the Mexican Yoda. He's taller than Yoda, and more jacked. But he had so many little pearls of wisdom that he would tell me, and I wouldn't even understand them at first sometimes. They would sound like gibberish almost. But he helped me with so many. So I'm going to give you guys my version of a Bertoism, okay? For those of you who have a hard time controlling yourself. Remember, the last bite tastes exactly like the first bite. Remember that. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, stay strong.
Let's go!